This is just AMZN for Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. We had a bit more of a pullback today, opening up really right below yesterday's lows and collapsed from there. Looked like we were going to form a hammer to bounce off of 1815, and that rolled back down. Similar to how it looked like we were going to start to bounce with a hammer off of 1841.30 up here yesterday, and same thing happened today. Had a nice little hammer, bullish candle, and then a big bearish candle after that. And I mean, yesterday merged a couple of candles, and it looks like the big one we got today here. A bit of a retracement, which is what we got here, and into the next hour or so and rollover. Today it was really quick. Came right down. This line is that uptrend slowly creeping up. If we zoom right back in on the day, you can see that we bounced off of that with a nice indecision candle, rallied right into the 21, had some inverted hammers here, rolled back down, looked like it was going to retest back into 1815, rolled down again, and was consolidating nicely here. And then all of a sudden there's some news or something, and it popped and rallied, and anyone who was going short here got trailed out or stopped out as it made it up past this pivot. Put a really nice double top, kind of a short or a quick retest here, and then kind of a secondary retest here before it rolled back down, getting below 1815 again, just to rally again into the close. So a few times to play this both directions. Looking at the calls here, well, actually, let's look at the puts because it opened up and just collapsed. So yesterday's price was closing around around $5 here, opened up around 7. And so anybody who had been getting into puts yesterday as things were collapsing was profitable, but then it just rallied from there. And you can see the let's see the price here quickly rolling down, even right here where I was talking about bulls coming in trying to buy that up and then collapsing. If bears were getting in here at 845 candle on the puts, that would have been right in here, getting in like 9 by 8, something like that. You get a stop below a couple of these candles, and taking that to 2R would be getting out at 11, which did it in a single candle or holding out a little bit longer down into that uptrend channel, and then seeing it roll down. This is the double top that we saw on the 5-minute. Let me go back to just today. There we go. There's a little double top. So with the puts, it's making kind of a double bottom here with the $5 price. And then the neckline retracement kind of happening in here. We don't really get much of a rollover looking at the option until you get to that secondary rollover. But it came way below the neckline. Like I'm picturing a neckline right here at 6, and you should have been just buying at 5 or getting in here bearish because it was making lower lows. I'm sorry, it was making lower highs right in here. And speaking of some resistance, we didn't get back up this high to get back into this line at all today. So we'll see if that comes into play tomorrow. If I copy this, let me see if I can duplicate this, move it down. I just want to see how well that would fit. No, that doesn't fit at all. Just seeing if there's any lines in here that would kind of show maybe there's something happening. I'm just trying to see I'm not really getting anything that lines up really well at all. No, I think this one was just working on this day and then helped the next day. But for today now, things are, they look a little more out of sorts. It looks, just looking at today, it looks like we're, trapping everybody. We're going bearish. All of a sudden we throw, some bullish candles in here, and then we consolidate, look like we're rolling over, kind of weird double top here, just to rally again, double top here, and we retest a little further than people expected, just to roll back down again, and ultimately came right back down to 1815. Like this was the main price that we were bouncing off of. But that wasn't the place to be buying or shorting it. It was really these kind of extremes. And using 1815 as a clear resistance or support just didn't really work very well. And that's where I like to have these lines in here and trade right off of them and get aggressively trading off of them. And it's not working today. So hopefully get something that works out like that again soon. If we look back at the daily here, we had a nice, really bearish retest gap. It did look like it closed the gap here, and we have still increasing bullish momentum on this squeeze. And so entirely possible that we could have a bullish gap and go tomorrow, open up around 1830, at least up above this high, so getting above 1826 or something like that, and then just run and get up into 1841.30 again, and possibly into 1863.84 tomorrow, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Get up into these prices as we progress into the week. We've got some bears coming in here looking to push this lower. If they're successful, it should come down a little bit more. If it gets below these candles, it should get down to 1847. But like I said, we already closed this gap, so it doesn't really have to go that much further. If it does, though, think of it in terms of, should we be down here, kind of this sort of thing. Should we be down this far, as it looked like it was starting to break out, and where's Amazon going to move to hit the most stops, just so that less people are in the bigger moves that it's making. So we'll just keep an eye on how this is moving around, with the squeeze having fired, and just being open to the possibility that it could have a bigger pullback here, but looking for something to continue bullish. It still seems like, even if you kind of connect these as slightly lower highs, we were bouncing off of that. It's just a really nice retest place coming into the 21. So we'll see if it gets going bullish or bearish or some more sideways. All of that's still possible. Let's see, looking at the calls here, 1825 calls, as we pulled way down into that uptrend channel, that was kind of the extreme. We did go up higher with those bullish candles. We came back down, and then we're right around 9 by 8 being a setup as this consolidated. But you would have had to have known there was some sort of news or something about to happen. But the only other thing going on right here, and kind of looking at how this was moving today, these really larger bullish candles here, and I guess some of these larger bearish ones, but we couldn't get, we barely got some closures right below this candle's open. But this candle's open, we were staying, like, we kept coming back down to that, and we kept getting bought up. So these lower wicks, the fact that there's 4 of them here almost in a row, like 4 out of 5 candles in a row, showing a lot of buying in here. Lower volume, but still a lot of buying in here. And even this one, a little bit of that price and a little bit of this lower wick. It's definitely showing that there's buying coming in, some hammers here, and even just doing a setup where you're going bullish above it and a stop below. If that's your setup, that worked tremendously today. And if you were in bearish, then you had your stop in place, and you lost an R or hopefully less. And you could have been setting this up both directions, or moving your stop really tight here if you're going bearish, just to mitigate the risk on the potential for something like this. But this, this was kind of difficult to trade around. I mean, it hit stops definitely of the bears. So anyway, getting back into the calls, little switch. This was buying around 850 or doing like 9 by 8. And then that ran up to 2R up to 11 pretty easily, pretty quickly even, just with how aggressive that went. And then the only other place to really get in bullish was towards the end of the day, and that would have offered basically the same setup, 9 by 8, right into the last 5 minutes. if you had it set up too early, the previous 5 minutes possibly could have been stopped out. I don't know, but this move from 9 up to not quite 11, but 9 up to 10, so it could have been scalping an R there bullish. So a couple opportunities bullish. This same thing, kind of some consolidation here, some consolidation here, and it pops in the same area. This kind of thing. These candles here, it's kind of the same setup as this, just don't have the wicks. This is kind of bookended by some bearish candles, just to get a bit of a pop here. And I'm sure some folks are looking for this to roll over, and then all of a sudden we just rallied. So much higher volume. Biggest volume we saw all day was this rally into the close. So we'll see if any of that continues bullish tomorrow. And I guess the only other thing I'm seeing here is you've got these highs, and from here to here is a higher low. I'd like to connect more points to that, but if we consolidate like that, we should open up in this range. If we open up above it or below it, look for a retest into this range, but don't expect it to roll over or don't expect it to bounce. Like, wait for it to make the move it's going to make and just get into it directionally. So yeah, that's what we'll be watching for tomorrow. Hope this helps. We'll keep an eye on this line as well, and be back to just do another recap and see how things are moving. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.